One anterior 1/6 part of the eyeball is covered by the cornea and posterior 5/6 is covered by sclera. So today we discuss about the cornea. First of all, we discuss the anatomy of the cornea. So cornea is the avascular transparent structure and it accounts the 75% of the refractive power. Total refractive power is plus 60 diopter. Cornea accounts plus 43 diopters. So there are optical surfaces. What are the optical surfaces? Through which the light passes. So there are many optical surfaces. First one is the anterior surface of the cornea, posterior surface of cornea, then aqueous fluid, then and overlying tears is also present over the cornea. Here and these anterior surface of lens and posterior surface of lens. These are surfaces. And media is aqueous humor, lens and vitreous. And every structure have its refractive indices. So air has refractive indices 1, tear film is 1.33, cornea is 1.37, aqueous humor is 1.33 also, lens is 1.43 and vitreous is 1.33. This is the structure of eyeball, okay, and from here to here 1/6 part is covered by the cornea and this posterior 5/6 is sclera. Then middle coat is the iris. This is the iris, this one is ciliary body and from here to here is the choroid. Then innermost layer is the retina and this part is filled with vitreous fluid. This one is the lens and this one is the zonules. Lens is attached to the ciliary body by which zonules. When zonules are weakened, then it displaced maybe anteriorly or posteriorly. Then we talk about the dimensions. So anterior surface is the elliptical shape and its horizontal diameter is 11.75 millimeter and vertical diameter is the 11 millimeter. Horizontal diameter is greater than vertical diameter and posterior surface is circular in shape and its dimension is the 11.5 millimeter. So if size of the cornea is small, that is called microcornea, and if its size is larger, that is called megalocornea. If horizontal diameter is less than 10 millimeter, this is called microcornea, and if the horizontal diameter is 13 millimeter or more, it is called megalocornea. This is the vertical diameter and this one is the horizontal diameter. This part is the sclera and this is the limbus. This one is the pupil and this is the attached margin of the iris and this one is the free margin of the iris. Free margin of the iris is called pupil. Then radius of curvature. Anterior and posterior radii of curvature. So anteriorly is 7.5 millimeter, 7.8 millimeter and posterior curvature is 6.5 millimeter. And thickness. Cornea is thinnest at the center part and it gradually becomes thickened towards the periphery. So its central thickness is the 0.52 millimeter and the periphery is the 0.6 millimeter. if central corneal thickness has the direct influence of the intraocular pressure. So in case of the congenital glaucoma, that is called Booth-Thelmas. In that case, there is the stretching of the cornea occur, and also there is the tear of the Descemet's membrane. That is called abstract. Then layers. Cornea is having how many layers? 6 layers. First one is the epithelial layer, anterior epithelium, and second is called the Bowman's membrane. Third one is the central stroma. It is also called, what is that? Stroma is also called substantia propria. And Duas layer, it is also called pre-Descemet's layer. Then Descemet's membrane, and last one is the endothelium. Here, this one is the epithelium, and this line is the Bowman's membrane. From here to here is the stroma, and this line is the pre-Descemet's membrane, and this one is the Descemet's membrane, and the last one, this cellular layer, is the endothelial cell layer, and this one is the anterior chamber. Then epithelium. Epithelium is the 50 to 90 micron thicken, and it is having the which type of epithelium? Stratified squamous epithelium, and it is having the 5 to 6 layers. Then corneal epithelium, when it damaged, it is regenerate. Only epithelium is regenerated. Despite if stroma is damaged or endothelial are damaged, they can't regenerate. This is also responsible for the transparency of cornea. Due to the tight cellular distribution, these maintain the transparency of the cornea. These are the different cellular structures: superficial cells, then wing cells, basal cells, and basal lamina. These are the 5 layers of epithelium. Then Bowman's membrane. Bowman's membrane connect the stroma to the epithelium, and it is not a true elastic membrane. Once it destroyed, it cannot be regenerated. And if this basement membrane is destroyed, then occur any type of infection and corneal ulcer. Okay. And epithelium is damaged, then that is healed by the epithelium, because epithelium is regrowth, regenerate. But if Bowman's membrane is destroyed, then it can be replaced by the scar tissue. That's why we find the different types of corneal opacity after healing of the corneal ulcer. Then stroma, it is 0.5 millimeter thicken, and it is also called the stroma or substantia propria. It accounts the 90% of the corneal thickness and composed of the collagen fibrils, keratocytes, and extracellular ground tissues. And the lamellae are also arranged in the 200 and 250, and they are parallel to each other. That's why transparency is also maintained. Then anterior 1/3 of the stroma. Here lamellae are thin and the thickness is the 0.5 to 30 micron wide and 0.2 to 1 millimeter thicken. Posterior 2/3 of the lamellae, this is 100 to 200 millimicron thick wide and 1 to 2.5 millimeter thick. This is the anterior 1/3 and from here to posterior 2/3. Then Duas layer. Duas layer is also called the pre-Descemet's membrane, and it is discovered by the Dr. Harminder Singh Dua. That's why it is also called Duas layer. It was discovered in 2013, and its thickness is the 15 micron thick. And this is the strongest layer and impervious to the air. It protect the eye from any injury. But if the other layers are damaged and only Descemet's membrane remains and the pressure is increased, then it bulges outside. That is called descemetocele. Then Descemet's membrane. This is the strongest homogeneous layer, Descemet's membrane of the endothelium. It is also made of the collagen and glycoprotein. It is elastic in nature and it can regenerate and resistance to chemical agents, infection and a pathological process. And the posterior surface shows the Hessel-Hanle body and which is increased with the increasing age of the patients. Then endothelium. This is the innermost layer of the cornea. It is single layer flat polygonal cells. It is its number is and density is 6,000 cells per square millimeter. With increasing age, the number of cells is gradually decreasing, and it involves the active secretion and protein synthesis, and it contains of the highest number of the mitochondria. Other cells is the photoreceptors, that there also mitochondria is present. And if it once destroyed due to surgical injury or corneal ulcer or any other kinds of injuries, then it can't be regenerated. Here, the number of endothelial cells at the age of newborn, it is 3,000 to 4,000 cells. At if age is increases in the adult life, it reaches to the 2,500 cells per square millimeter, and old age it remains only 2,000 cells per square millimeter. And if one cells are damaged, that cells cannot be replaced, but the gap there is formed, which gap is filled by the stretching of the cells. That's why the size of the cells is initial 12 to 20 micron in early life. Its size is increases 40 micron to fill the gap of the damaged cells. Then blood supply. Cornea is the avascular structure, so it doesn't have its own blood supply. It is supplied by the anterior ciliary vessels. Anterior ciliary vessels, which are the peripheral branches of the conjunctival vessels, and it innervated around the limbus, and that vessels provide the nutrition to the cornea. And these vessels are the conjunctival tissues. Sometimes conjunctival tissues are also overgrowth and overlap the cornea. Then nerve supply. What is the nerve supply? What is the nerve supply? It is the cornea is the most sensitive tissue, and it is having the richest sensory nerve supply and supplied by the short ciliary nerves, which is the branches of ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve. And these nerves are innervated in the stroma beneath the Bowman's membrane, and parts crossing the Bowman's membrane, it also innervated to the anterior epithelium. This is the nerve supply. Then limbus. What is the limbus? Limbus is the junction of conjunctiva, cornea and sclera. And transparency, how the transparency of cornea is maintained. What is the reason? First reason is the tight junction of the epithelial cells. Second one is the endothelial pump mechanism. And third one is the absence of blood supply. And absence of pigments. And here nerves are present, that is non-myelinated. Myelinated nerve fibers are having pigmentation, but here nerves are non-myelinated. And there is scarcity of the nuclei in the stroma. There is less number of nuclei are present and a uniform structures of the stroma that is responsible for the to maintain the transparency of cornea. Then corneal analysis, we examine the different type of test to assess the integrity of the cornea, its layer, its thickness, how many cells are present. Congenital anomaly of the cornea. So these are congenital anomaly. First one is the microcornea, megalocornea, cornea plana, keratoconus and sclerocornea. Later we explain one by one. Microcornea. What is microcornea? It may be unilateral and bilateral. And if adult horizontal diameter is less than 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter or less, it is called microcornea. In case of the microcornea, AC is shallow, it is hypermetropic, but other dimensions of the eye are normal. And it is prone to the glaucoma, hypermetropia and congenital cataract. Then megalocornea. Megalocornea is the bilateral progressive enlargement of the cornea. Here corneal diameter is 13 millimeter or more and AC is deep. In case of microcornea, AC is shallow, here deep and patient is myopic. And due to the stretching of the zonules, here maybe the subluxation or dislocations of the lenses occur in case of the megalocornea. Then cornea plana. Cornea plana, it is also a bilateral condition and it is associated with the hypermetropia, shallow AC and angle closure glaucoma. Patients are more prone to glaucoma. Then keratoconus. It is the ectatic condition in which cornea shape changed into cone shape. That's why it is called keratoconus. And keratoconus, it occurs at the age, starts and onset is the puberty 10 to 20 years of age group. And in case of the keratoconus, there is diminution of vision that is due to the astigmatism, and astigmatism occur irregular astigmatism due to the change of the shape of the cornea, and also causes curvature myopia, and sometimes the central parts is opaque and there is opacity form, and these are responsible for the diminution of vision in case of the keratoconus. Then scleroderma, sclerocornea. Sclerocornea, it is also a bilateral condition, and sclerocornea, it occurs, it is the sequelae of the corneal ulcer actually. If opacification of the cornea and vascularization is occur, then peripheral part or entire part is flattened and become fibrous, changed into the fibrous tissue. That is looks like a sclera. That's why it is called sclerocornea. Then general signs of the corneal diseases. What are the general signs? What kinds of signs appear in case of any kind of corneal diseases? First one is the punctate epithelial erosion, then punctate epithelial keratitis, and mucous filaments, corneal edema. Edema may be involved the epithelium and stroma, then vascularizations of the cornea, pannus and break in the Descemet's membrane. Then punctate epithelial erosion. Punctate epithelial erosion, it is a tiny epithelial defect in the superficial layer of the epithelium. And if it is damaged, it is stained by the fluorescent dye. And a fluorescent dye, it looks like a greenish color, and it is non-specific, but its location may indicate some kinds of diseases. If superficial punctate erosion is present in the superior part, this is the superior part, this is the interpalpebral, and this is the inferior. If superior part is involved, it is occur in the spring catarrh and chlamydial infection. And if middle part is involved, it occurs in the dry eye and a neuroparalytic keratitis. And if inferior part is involved, it occurs in the diseases of the lid, maybe trichiasis, entropion, dystrichiasis, and ectropion, entropion, and exposure keratitis, and some kinds of toxins, chemical toxins. So these are the pictures of the erosion. Here the superior part, here is the middle part is involved, and lower part is also involved. Here is the intermediate interpalpebral part is involved. Here is this is also the interpalpebral part. These are different types of punctate epithelial erosion. Then we come to the punctate epithelial keratitis. Punctate epithelial keratitis are the swollen and opaque epithelial cells, and it is stained by the rose bengal. Epithelial defect erosion is stained by the fluorescent dye, and this one is stained by rose bengal stain. And it is common in the more all kinds of, which kind of ulcer? Bacterial, viral, fungal? Viral. Viral, that is called viral keratitis. And what is keratitis? Keratitis means inflammation of the cornea. Then mucous filaments. Mucous filaments are mucous stents. Its one end is attached to the cornea and other end is moves with the, we are discussing about the mucous filaments. And these, you have seen these kinds of mucous filaments. Some patients are having conjunctivitis or ulcers, and subthread like structures are moving when we open the eye, and it moves with the movement of the lid. And causes is it is more common in the dry eye syndrome, neurotrophic keratitis, superior limbic keratoconjunctivitis, and corneal epithelial instability. Then corneal edema. Corneal edema is two types, epithelial edema and strobal edema. So it is characterized by the loss of the luster of the cornea, and there may be the formation of vesicles or bullae that is present in the epithelial layer, and this epithelial vessel as a bullae. These are the peculiar features of the endothelial decompensation in case of the trauma or after surgery, cataract surgery. Some patients are immunocompromised and there is damage in the endothelium, and we find out this kind of condition, endothelial decompensation. And in some kind of patient which are having the raised intraocular pressure is having the corneal decompensation. Then stromal edema. Stromal edema, it occurs in the viral keratitis. It involves the stroma of the cornea, and that is the disciform keratitis, or sometimes damage to the endothelial cells. Stromal edema occur, and in this condition thickness of the cornea is increased and transparency is decreased, and the cornea become thickened and opaque. That's why causes blurring of the vision. And due to the edema, in case of the glaucoma, you also see the colored halos. So these are the different kinds of epithelial and stromal edema, corneal edema that is called. Then vascularization of the cornea. Normally cornea is the avascular structure. Sometimes vessels are overgrowth in the cornea in case of the corneal ulcer or kinds of conjunctivitis that affects the cornea and causes corneal vascularization. And these vascularizations may be the superficial and deep. So how to differentiate the superficial vascularization and deep vascularization? Superficial vascularization is due to the conjunctival vessels and deep vascularization is due to the anterior ciliary vessels. Anterior ciliary vessels which are present around the limbus, and it is superficial vascularization, it crosses at the limbus, but in deep vascularization it ends at the point of limbus. Then its color is bright red and well defined, and deep vascularization is dark red and ill defined, and its structure is dichotomously and its structure is parallel. Vessels are running parallel, and in case of the superficial vascularization, surface of the cornea is rough, but in case of deep vascularization, surface is smooth. And here vessels are present in the superficial stroma, and here vessels are present in the 2/3 part of the posterior 2/3 part of the stroma, that is deeper. That's why in this case cornea is smooth and this case cornea is rough. So it causes of superficial vascularization is pannus, corneal ulcer, trichiasis and pterygium. And deep vascularization, it is occurs in the interstitial keratitis and deep keratitis, disciform keratitis, that is the kind of ulcer. So this is the picture of superficial vascularization and this one is the deep vascularization. Here you see the vessels are prominent and here vessels are prominent, present in the deep layer, that it is faint, and surface of the cornea is smooth. Then pannus. Pannus is the inflammatory degenerative epithelial ingrowth that is due to the fibrovascular tissues at the limbus, and it may be progressive and regressive, two types. If it is progressive, then vessels extend beyond the infiltration, and if it is regressive, then if it is regressive, then blood vessels are extend to cross the infiltrations. Blood vessels are ahead the infiltrations. So these are pannus, encroachment of vessels. Seen here, it is most commonly occur in case of the trachoma. Pannus is the peculiar features of trachoma. Then break in the Descemet's membrane. Break in the Descemet's membrane is occurred due to the enlargement of the cornea. It may be keratoconus or trauma, and in this case, if there is, it is also result in the formation found in case of congenital glaucoma. In case of the congenital glaucoma, there is the stretching of the cornea. That's why there is the break in the Descemet's membrane, and that break looks like a vertical line, that is called Haps line. So these are the different conditions of the clinical conditions of cornea. Then we talk about the different kinds of investigations, special investigations. So first is the pachymetry. What is pachymetry? Pachymetry to assess the thickness of the cornea. And second is the specular microscopy. Specular microscopy is the photographic technique, and by which we analyze the number of endothelial cells. And keratometry. Keratometry is the measurement of the curvature of the axial 3 millimeter of the cornea. In case of LASIK surgery, the keratometry is also done to find out the IOL power. Then corneal topography and pentachem. Corneal topography and pentagram, it is the diagrammatic presentations of the dioptric power of the different part of the cornea. So this is the pachymetry process, and here we assess the thickness. And this is the specular microscopy to assess the endothelial cells. And this is the manual keratometer, and this is the automatic keratometer. And this is the pentachem. In pentachem, we assess the photographic assessment of the different dioptric power of the part of cornea. Then microbial examination, in which if patient is having corneal ulcer, then we scrape out the epithelial debris and send them for microbiological analysis to find out the which kind of organism is involved, and it is growth in the different kind of culture medias. Then we come to the inflammatory conditions of the cornea. So inflammation of the cornea is known as keratitis. Classifications of the keratitis. Keratitis may be divided into two groups. First is the ulcerative keratitis. Ulcerative keratitis is also known as corneal ulcer, and a non-ulcerative keratitis. In non-ulcerative keratitis, epithelial is intact, but there is damage in the stroba and the deeper part of the cornea. Then we also classify the corneal ulcer, primary corneal ulcer and secondary corneal ulcer. Primary corneal ulcer is if there is corneal abrasion and there is secondary bacterial infection occur and ulcer is formed, that is called primary ulcer. And secondary ulcer, it is the complications of the, if patient is having the conjunctivitis or keratoconjunctivitis. Conjunctivitis also affect the cornea, and the patient is having the chronic diffuse cystitis, and that affect the cornea. That is called secondary corneal ulcer. Then classification of the ulcer, it is primary corneal ulcer is also divided into two groups. First one is the infective and second one is the non-infective. Infective may be hypopian corneal ulcer, dendritic ulcer, fungal ulcer, or mycotic ulcer, and a parasitic ulcer, that is also called acanthamoeba ulcer. And non-infective may be the any kind of trauma. If trauma occur, then traumatic ulcer. If a patient is having proptosis, that case exposure keratitis. If there is any neurological problem, that is called neuroparalytic keratitis. And having the nutritional deficiency patient, vitamin A deficiency or protein energy malnutrition, that patient is suffer from the nutrition ulcer, keratomalacia, Murray's ulcer. It is autoimmune disease. It involves the peripheral part of the cornea and atheromatous ulcer. So these are non-infective. Then secondary corneal ulcer, I have already explained it. Secondary corneal ulcer, it is associated with the complications of acute or chronic conjunctivitis. If patient is having gonococcal conjunctivitis and also affect the cornea and causes corneal ulcer, that is called gonococcal corneal ulcer. Flectinular conjunctivitis, it is also affect the cornea, and trachomatous conjunctivitis, it also affect the cornea. And if patient is having this kind of conjunctivitis and along with ulcer, that is called secondary corneal ulcer. Then ulcer is also classified according to the level of thickness is involved. If only superficial layer is involved, that is called superficial keratitis. If middle part is involved, then interstitial keratitis, that is the disciform keratitis, and viral, all types of viral keratitis, and deep keratitis. Deep keratitis is also affect the deeper layer, and it is more prone to the perforation. Then classification of ulcer. If there is ulcer is present or not. Ulcer is present in the superficial keratitis, and it may be the superficial punctate keratitis, and second one is the pannus. Pannus is associated with trachoma, flectinular, and leprotic patients. Then interstitial keratitis, it is also called parenchymatous keratitis, in which condition interstitial keratitis and disciform keratitis, it is a kind of viral keratitis. Then deep keratitis, it is also called keratitis profunda. And according to the etiology, which organism is involved, it is also divided according to the infecting organism. If bacteria is involved, it is called hypopion corneal ulcer. Viral is involved, dendritic ulcer, and a mycotic ulcer, this is the fungal ulcer, kind of vegetative injury, and acanthamoeba amoeba keratitis, this is the if patient is having the parasitic infestations. Then non-infective, they are traumatic, exposure, neuroparalytic, nutritional, keratomalacia, atheromatous, and Murray's ulcer. Then causes of the peripheral corneal ulcer. In this case, only peripheral part of the cornea is involved. If the superficial peripheral part is involved, it is called the catarrhal or staphylococcal ulcer. Then in case of the trachomatous conjunctivitis, cornea is affected, that is called trachomatous ulcer. Here also is the peripheral part is involved. And a flectinular ulcer, this is occur in case of the flectinular conjunctivitis, flectin is involved and it also affect the cornea. And Murray's ulcer, this is the autoimmune disease and present in the around the limbus, that is called Murray's ulcers. So this is the peripheral catarrhal ulcer, only peripheral part is involved, peripheral part of the cornea is involved and center part is clear. This is the Murray's ulcer, here peripheral part is involved and central cornea is clear, only peripheral is involved. Then causes of central corneal ulcer. Central corneal ulcer का cause क्या है? First one is the hypopion ulcer. In this case, what is hypopion? If pus is present in the anterior chamber, that is called hypopion. And if ulcer is associated with hypopion, that is called hypopion corneal ulcers. Then gonococcal ulcer. This is the very virulent organism, and sometimes it also affect the intact cornea. And herpetic keratitis. Herpetic keratitis, it may be two types, herpes zoster and herpes simplex. Then neuroparalytic keratitis and nutritional ulcer. This is the atheromatous and keratomalacia. This is hypopion. This is the central corneal ulcer, and here pus is present. It may be sterile and unsterile. These are due to the if patient is having corneal ulcer, toxins are penetrate the cornea and affect the iris and causes iritis, and due to iritis there is infiltration of the polymorph nuclear leukocytes, and they are shedding at the bottom of the anterior chamber, and that is sterile. That is called sterile hypopion. And in this case, if there is the secondary bacterial infection occur, that is infected, then it changed into the hypopion corneal ulcer. And this is the herpetic corneal ulcer. Herpetic corneal ulcer means here these hyphae are extend in any directions. In a dendritic form, that is why it is also called herpetic ulcer or dendritic ulcers. Then we come to the corneal ulcer. So these are all about different kinds of anomaly, clinical conditions, and the classification of the corneal ulcer. And now we discuss the corneal ulcer, and the corneal ulcer discussed in the following topics, headings. First is the predisposing cause. What is the time? Only point to enumerate. Predisposing factors, pathology, clinical pictures, complication, and treatment. Under these 5 headings, we describe the corneal ulcer. So, what are the predisposing factors? If patient is old age and immunocompromised and having the chronic diseases like diabetes mellitus, leprotic, vitamin deficiency, that patient is more prone to affect the corneal ulcer. Patient is having malnutrition and vitamin deficiency, also prone to the corneal ulcer. And septic foci. If there is septic foci, patient is having the any nasal diseases, or the septic foci also present in the sac, lacrimal sac. If patient is suffering chronic dacryocystitis, they are also prone to the corneal ulcer. Okay. Then that is the general causes. And local causes, trauma. First is trauma. Trauma, it may be foreign body abrasions and trichiasis. What is trichiasis? What is trichiasis? Trichiasis means misdirected eyelaces. That misdirected eyelaces rubbing the cornea, and that damage the epithelium and causes corneal ulcer if it is persist for a long time. So trichiasis should be removed to prevent the corneal ulcer. Then exposure may be 2 types. First one is leg ophthalmos, and second one is the proptosis. If there is any space occupying lesion is present in the orbital cone, that push the eyeball forwards, and when patient is close his eyes, cornea is not fully covered, that is the present exposed, and that exposed part of the cornea due to dryness and irritation, there is injury occur and corneal ulcer develop. Then patient is having dry eye, maybe suffering from the lacrimal gland disease, or atrophy of the lacrimal gland. There is scanty watering, scanty secretions of tear that causes corneal ulcer. Then dacryocystitis, And necrosis, it is occur in case of the malnutrition and vitamin A deficiency patients. And loss of sensation, if patient is having the neuroparalytic, then there is corneal sensation is lost and patient doesn't accept the any kind of sensation, and that is responsible for the development of corneal ulcer. So these are the local causes. Then pathology of the corneal ulcer. Pathology of the corneal ulcer, it has the three stages. First is the stage of infiltration, yeah, stage of infiltration, and ulcerative stage, and a healing stage. And after healing, there is um, complications and cicatrizations are present. So stage of infiltration, there is the localized localized disc of the polymorph cellular infiltrations, and there is also edema of the cornea and overlying epithelial cells, and there is congestion is present. This congestion is called ciliary congestion. You learn about it in the conjunctiva. What is the congestion? Congestion is two types. This is called conjunctival congestion and ciliary congestion. Conjunctival congestion is occur in the all kinds of conjunctivitis, and ciliary congestion is occur in case of the all kinds of corneal ulcer, iritis, iridocyclitis, glaucoma, and endophthalmitis. Then ulcerative stage. In this stage, secondary infection occur and ulcer is formed. And here it has two stages. One is the progressive stage and second one is the regressive stage. In progressive stage it is also called unclean ulcer, because lots of epithelial cells and debris are present, and ulcer is saucer shaped, inflammatory organisms and cells are present in the floor, and edges of the ulcer is swollen. There is the clear demarcations of the polymorph nuclear leukocytes, and these are the secondary defense mechanism to destroy or macerating the necrotic materials. And there is the diffusion of toxins, and these toxins diffuse the cornea and reaches to the iris, and it causes iritis. That's why iris is bloody in case of the corneal ulcer. And here due to iritis, there is epithelial polymorph nuclear neutrophils, and our cells, damaged cells are settled in the anterior chamber that form the hypopion corneal ulcer. Then regressive stage. In this stage, after treatment, our patient's immunocondition is improved, nutritional condition is improved, and ulcer starts healing. So here the necrotic material is less, but the size of the ulcer is increased. And there is also found the superficial vascularizations of the cornea, and here healing is start. Then healing stage it is shows the epithelial migration and proliferations. Then fibrosis occurs due to the source of fibrosis is the fibroblast cells. These are vessels, keratocytes, and macrophages, and sometimes there is vascularizations occurs and they are empty, that is called the ghost cells. Then Bowman's membrane. If Bowman's healing stage, Bowman's membrane is involved. No. Healing stage, Bowman's membrane. If the corneal ulcer, Bowman's membrane is affected, only epithelium is affected, then there is no corneal opacity. But if Bowman's membrane is involved, there is opacity occur, and these opacities are three types: nebula, leucoma, and macula. If faint opacity is present, it is called nebula. Dense white, that is called leucoma, and a medium density, that is called macula. Then clinical pictures of corneal ulcer. So we taught later on in next lecture clinical pictures of the corneal ulcer and investigations of the corneal ulcer, how to assess the corneal ulcer and treatment next time. So class is over here.